Preparing for your power and conflict GCSE exams can be incredibly challenging. Not only do you have to memorize and write about 15 poems, you don't know which two are going to come up, but you need to remember 15 different poem quotations. But in addition to that, you need to be able to remember things like context, structure, techniques, and somehow weave all of that together in what is your longest GCSE exam, because remember that power and conflict is part of literature paper 2, and this is the longest of your 4 GCSE English exams that you're going to be sitting. So what I want to show you guys is when it comes to this portion of your exam, remember that when it comes to power and conflict, you're also tested on comparative writing, okay? You've got to compare 2 poems and be able to synthesize all of this information. I want to show you how to make this process easier for yourself, especially if in the lead up to the exams and during Easter, you are taking your revision really seriously, you are applying yourself, you are practicing and churning out a few more practice questions for power and conflict. These are the top 3 topic sentences that you can use to start yourself off and to get yourself going when it comes to power and conflict and answering those GCSE essays, because I do appreciate that power and conflict can be a little bit challenging. Sometimes students will see a question, then they think, okay, what poem am I going to compare? Okay, how do I start my comparison? How do I write a good comparison, right? So in order to show your examiner, number 1, that you have a grasp of the question and its keywords, but most importantly, you're also immediately hitting things like AO1, you're showing an understanding of answering the question, you're hitting AO2 because you're mentioning stuff like technique, structure, and so on, and you're also not wasting valuable time getting your essay started. You can use these topic sentences to help yourself, and I would like to suggest memorize these topic sentences word for word, especially if you really struggle with getting yourself started with power and conflict. And by the way, speaking of power and conflict, do remember that during Easter week, this is from the 7th to the 13th, I will be having a one-off power and conflict GCSE masterclass on the 10th of April, where from 5 to 6 p.m, all of my students are part of that class will be focusing on how to drive up marks and how to go up by 1, 2, 3 GCSE grades in the upcoming power and conflict GCSE exams. So make sure you join in. Now, let's talk about the first topic sentence. How do you start your power and conflict essay? You've got the question in front of you, you've got the theme, you have got the chosen poem. What topic sentence can you use for any question that comes up? And one that also integrates comparison between the 2 poems. This is how you start off your amazing grade 9 power and conflict essay, okay? So start off by using these words word for word. The poems explore the theme of dash. So now here you add the theme that's mentioned in the question that you get. Highlighting dash. So here you mention effect through dash technique. And then here you're talking about the 2 techniques that the poets use within the poems. You go straight to mentioning stuff like metaphors, similes, metaphor for Ozymandias, simile for London, for example, right? This could be, for example, when you're thinking about the theme of power. Potentially you asked a question to do with war, right? So you're thinking about how the poems explore the theme of war, highlighting, its devastating effect through where you're talking about, for example, exposure, or even charged light brigade. You are mentioning how repetition technique is used in charged light brigade versus how personification is used, second technique, in exposure to show how nature is personified. This is such a great topic sentence to use for power and conflict and as part of your practice, because it allows you to introduce central themes of both poems. Remember, I keep on talking about both poems because you need to show comparative writing skills, but equally also you're getting immediate AO2 marks because you are also showing and showcasing your awareness of the poet's techniques. If you are not too keen on that topic sentence, here's an alternative topic sentence. Or if you are writing more than 1 paragraph, remember that if you want to start accessing 6s, 7s, 8s, and 9s in your power and conflict GCSE exams, you need to write at least 2, if not 3 comparative paragraphs. This is a second topic sentence you can use as part of your second comparative paragraph, right? So here, that you can start your other paragraph by stating, the structure of the 2 poems reflect theme. Again, when I say theme, I'm talking about the thematic aspect that's going to be a part of the exam question that you get, okay? So the structure of the 2 poems reflect theme dash as seen in dash poem 1, okay, where you're talking about structure, and dash poem 2, which are significant in conveying blah, blah, blah. I'm going to repeat, okay? The structure of the two poems reflect dash as seen in first poem and second poem, which are significant in conveying, then you go off and describe this. This is really important and really significant, and why this helps you is because it's a really powerful way of not only cleverly highlighting structure and meaning when you immediately start talking about structure, because that's something that students always find challenging with poetry. They're like, if I'm talking about this being a sonnet or this being a ballad, do I just describe that it's a sonnet and ballad because I can't quote the whole thing? No, you still want to talk about, and you still want to pick a quote, but you still need to talk about structure, right? However, also what's great about this is you are constantly from the start integrating comparison. You're talking about poem 1 or poem 2. Here's a third alternative topic sentence, and of course obviously you're looking at this and maybe you might be thinking, okay, this is great, this is really useful, I really find it hard to get myself started, but how can I apply these topic sentences? What do they look like in an actual GCSE essay? Guys, I'll be going over this in my one-off Easter Power and Conflict GCSE masterclass, so make sure you join in and you will see how I write grade 9 model answers. You will also get your own Power and Conflict cheat sheet, and of course on top of that I'll be making predictions. I even have a special Power and Conflict table with all the past paper questions that my students can use to revise from 2017 all the way to 2024. So of course make sure you sign up, join in, it's going to be a vibe, and this is going to be during Easter. Now, number 3, the third topic sentence that you can use for any Power and Conflict essay is as follows. Whilst poet 1 employs technique to set a powerful pace, poet 2 utilizes technique to demonstrate their poem's message of, then you add idea, okay? So as you can see here, you can begin with the surname of the first poet. For instance, whilst Shelley employs, then you talk about whatever technique, alliteration, right? In Kings of Kings, for instance. So whilst Shelley employs alliteration to set a powerful pace, Blake for London utilizes, again, a metaphor such as mind-forged manacles to demonstrate the poem's message of, and with the idea here that I've mentioned right here, is to do with power. Now, this topic sentence is really powerful because not only are you immediately highlighting similarities or differences, okay, so if you want to talk about similarities or differences, you can use this topic sentence, but also you are being comparative continuously, okay? So that's really it when it comes to the top 3 topic sentences, especially if you really struggle with just getting yourself started with writing the essay for Power and Conflict, okay? And of course, remember, if you're really stressing out about this part of your upcoming GCSE exams, you don't have to figure it out by yourself. Just join in my Power and Conflict GCSE masterclass, which is going to be this Easter, and I'll be going over this, but also going over grade 9 responses, how to boost those marks, especially if you don't really do very well in your mocks. You have low predicted grades and you really need to boost them up before your May exams, okay? So thanks so much for listening.